Hi, she's Trixie, and I'm Sarah, and this is Our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of yarn crafts and all that it gives us and what we hope it gives you. We're on episode 178 today, and it's been so rainy. It's been so gloomy. The lighting is kind of slightly shaded despite the fact that we have really good lighting because of everything that's going on. It has just been one moody week with all the rain and all the storms. So I hope this lighting still works for you guys.
On the upside, all my outside flowers are getting watered, and my strawberries are getting watered, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, my issue is that my kids really wanted to go water the plants. And so now...
And they haven't been able to.
Yeah.
Aww.
They only got to do it once, and every single day they've been like, hey, can we go? And I'm like, well, I mean, the rain is kind of already doing it for us, and sorry.
Well, let's hope that lasts over the summer when they really need to do it.
Yeah. So, yeah, it has been a weird... I feel weak. It's like I have all these ideas. I have this list of things to do, and yet I'm finding this weird relation between all the hobbies and all the stuff I keep finding as I'm doing all my spring cleaning. And I feel like you had a bit of the same thing, just finding things, not finding things, trying to remember where things are, not remember where things are, finding projects that I didn't realize I hadn't finished, finding projects that were finished, finding things that I didn't even remember existed, just
That happens during spring cleaning, because I'm doing the same thing with my craft room, which is a horrible mess right now. And I was trying to find a pattern that I wanted to do again.
Yeah.
And I can't find it, and it was so frustrating.
Yeah.
And so I finally just went and got the blanket that I did this pattern on, which is my pattern, by the way, and my mosaic, and I grabbed the blanket and I decided I'm just going to graph it again, just to have the pattern again. And so I graphed it out.
It's okay.
Sorry about that. And I graphed it out and made sure I had my X's where they need to be. And then I started it. But just to let you know, this is how I do it anyway.
Sheet paper clips.
I use another piece of graph paper and coordinating, because this side is very, very thin on this last square. But so is this graph paper down here. So I coordinate it, and then because you go from bottom to top. So as I move up the line, I just have these paper clips that hold it to the space that I need it to be, and then I can just work on the line that's right above it.
So she uses it as a means to be able to cancel one line out at a time so she doesn't lose where she's at and get confused, and is able to focus exactly where she's at.
Yeah, and that helps me a lot when I'm just watching TV and doing my crocheting.
Yeah.
Having that paper make sure that I'm in the right spot when I need to be. And so I decided...
It's really smart.
I loved how this turned out with just all the colors and stuff that I used, which wasn't that many, but I had red in between each one of them. I really loved how it turned out. But I decided I'm just going to do pink and black.
And the light quality is not showing it off, but this pink is a vibrant...
It's neon.
Neon pink.
It's my big twist, and it's called Hot Pink.
So it's kind of diluted in the camera's light, but it is a very, really vibrant pink.
And then just Premier, 1 pound. Now I got this at Dollar Tree for $5. So I was able to pair them, and I have started it. So it looks kind of like a chain right now. But what I'm going to do is, now I made this pattern, I made this design 4 times. And then I added 3 more stitches. Because you have to go back 1 to start, and then you have 1 on each side. That's just how the patterns go. They have 1 on each side. That's just something you end and begin with.
It's just the edge.
Yeah.
So you did 4 repeats.
Yes,
okay.
I did 4 repeats. But what's going to happen is I'm going to double it, and I'm going to go up as far as I decide to. I'm going to have a nice edge. This black is thicker at the bottom. I'm going to do that at the top, and I'm going to make a pillow out of it.
Oh,
so I'm just going to double it up.
Yeah.
And then I'll just stitch the side when it's done, and the top and the bottom. And I'll make a pillow out of it.
That's cool.
So I'm going to bring you along on the journey on that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm also using my 5mm hook, my frills, and I'm going to get that out and show you. So I'm just using my 5mm frills Odyssey hook. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that maybe frills has gone out of business, but I'm not sure. I've only heard that 1 time, so I don't know.
Have you looked it up?
I have not looked it up.
I have your phone.
Okay.
How do you spell it?
FURL''S. But yeah, so we're just, both of us are going through spring cleaning in our houses. I'm doing it mostly in my craft room, and I'm trying to clear some stuff out. Maybe it'll make it feel like I can do more in there. Right now, I tend to bring stuff out into my dining room, which is where we are right now, or my living room, because I don't have any place to be in my room. I bring stuff in there, I set it down, and I never, I don't know. If that's you, then let me know. But I need to get out of that habit. If I'm not going to use it again, or if I need to put it away right away. And I used to be like that. I don't know, as I age, maybe it's just, I'm just getting older and I just want to be able to put it down and not have to worry that I'm not going to lose it, which that's kind of backwards, because the more stuff that you put in a room, the less likely is that you're going to find it. So, I don't know. Is that what you're finding too?
I find just the more responsibility I have with the volume of stuff I have, the less likely I am to appreciate the things that do matter to me.
Yeah.
The more that it is about almost like overconsumption, the more that I rarely get to enjoy the things I do enjoy to consume and enjoy having a part of my day-to-day life. So it's hard when you're around a lot of media that gives you such a almost like an expectation that you need so much to be happy.
Well, part of mine too is that I'm on eBay and I sell, and so you have to have the stuff for that too, and
But-
then you have to have the room to put the stuff that you're selling.
But there's also just, it's the whole, it's knowing when it's not working anymore and knowing when to let things go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I looked up the Furls stuff, and it said that the Furls Odyssey hooks, that different types of hook styles that Furls does was being discontinued.
Oh,
Though
okay.
certain styles looks like it was being
Okay, so
reevaluated.
Furls is still in business, but they're taking some of the hooks off.
They're
the list.
taking some of the styles that they have done in the past, like the Odyssey collection or different collections of their
Okay.
hook styles.
They're
are-
probably coming up with new ones and taking old ones out.
Yeah.
Okay.
From
All
what
right.
I understand, because it looks like you could still order stuff, but the only thing I could see just on the Google engines, first couple of like first couple of results,
Right.
it showed that it was booming and fine, but the only thing that it listed as being discontinued was some of the styles.
Furls Odyssey.
Yeah.
Which is what I got.
Yeah, but that was like in 2023, so this might be old news.
Yeah. And it probably is. I just don't catch up with anything like that. With mine, I only got the two hooks. The 10 millimeter for when I work with 2 yarns at a time, and the 5 millimeter for when I work with 1 yarn at a time. So that was the only 2 that I needed, and I like the Furls Odyssey the best, so that's what I ordered. So that's a shame that they have to discontinue, but if they're coming out with new hooks, that's exciting too. So
Yeah, and I think they're still weighted and they're
whatever that noise was.
I think they're still coming out with the weighted and ergonomic handle designs. It's just the designs in which they have made in the past of that.
Right.
They are just going into new.
They're innovating new ones.
Yeah, they're adapting, and they're creating a much more maybe gathering a different audience that might enjoy different color palettes, different styles, different yada yada yada.
Awesome.
But back to your topic of just finding ways to be able to enjoy space, like
Yes.
as I'm learning to declutter, as I am learning to let go, because so much that we get can kind of come in play of, well, I'm gonna need it later, or what if it gets me money later, or what if. And what ifs normally cause us to not actually react as we normally would. We're giving ourselves an excuse to not have to, instead of actually holding ourselves accountable. What ifs are good when they prove to be in actual reality, but a lot of times they are just our mind playing games on ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is a simple test. Like when you're doing with clothes, if you hang up all your clothes and you hang them up backwards so you have the hooks. So like if this is the pole and normally you hang them like this so that they're facing you and easier to come off, you can face them backwards so you can see what you actually take out of your closet normally.
Right.
Because when you're actually hang everything up, you can do it facing you because you've pulled it off already.
Right.
And then you can see what hooks are facing away from you and what hooks are facing towards you to be able to see what you've actually pulled out of the closet or not.
And then get rid of the ones you don't wear. where?
Like, you give yourself a test. I mean, I know some people do the box trick where they put something into a box, they put it in the closet, and they leave it relatively close to the door. They make it easy to get out, but it's one of those, you give yourself a time limit based off of when you would think it'd be the most natural for you to actually take that thing out. Right? Like, I'm not telling you, oh, take away this holiday thing that you're not going to actually even touch until Christmas.
Right, no.
Like, that makes no sense. Wait till Christmas and see what you use and get rid of what you didn't put out.
Right.
That's simple. Yeah. But regarding things like that, where it's a seasonal thing or just things of like, hey, let's just see if I pull it out. Put it somewhere where it's at the convenience of pulling it out, but once it's met its time limit, if you haven't pulled it out of that box, just get rid of it. You've lived without it. Another thing I know people have done is they have neatly packed stuff. So, like, some people deal with, like, cluttered surfaces. So, like, things become a catch-all. I know that that's something that I struggle with. And they actually will tell you, organize things into boxes so you know what is in those space, what's in there. But leave that surface empty.
Right.
Make a choice to make that surface stay empty and not a collect all for like a month. Anything that ends up being put on that after that may be like a figurine you like, or you notice that a candle is nice to put in that location, or whoa, you're actually able to eat at the table. Things like that, you will figure out the rhythm of what you actually gravitate towards to get out of those boxes because you made sure it was organized and things that you're able to get to, compared to realizing I haven't even touched that stuff. And this is where it gets hard when you realize, oh no, that also means my crafting stuff.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff I have found and taking so much out of my house is how much is left of crafting stuff. My husband has made such a habit of, when he is at yard sales, when he is at thrift stores, buying me these huge collections of hooks and needles of various different sizes, double-ended, different brands, Susan Bates, wooden, metal, plastic, you name it. And there's a level of, do I want to keep them? I want to keep enough that I know that I have what I need and I don't have to go out and buy it.
Yeah.
But there's a reality to hoarding, or there's a reality to just having it for the sake of having it, when that doesn't serve a purpose.
And somebody else could be using it for you. I mean, instead of you.
And when I want to bless somebody, like, I like the idea that right now I have this idea of possibly creating kits for people with all the yarn and stuff that I have.
Right.
Where I can provide the needle, the yarn, the material, the pattern, and like create gift kits for people to see if they would like to just try something. Like, hey, you want to try this hobby and see if it's for you? There's a lot of things like that that I'm thinking about doing. But there's a level of, even if that were to possibly not work, then just let it be. Give it to give it the opportunity to be somewhere where it can actually create, and not just on my shelf because I like the idea that I have so much.
Yeah.
That doesn't serve anything. That just only kind of creates more chaos and this need for control and overconsumption I don't need in my life. And it does not lead to creativity. It leads to stress. It leads to not having enough space for things I might need. And that is what is so crazy, is that the what ifs are for these rainy days that even if they come, you can't ever find the stuff because you already have so many other what ifs that crowd up that that eventual rainy day that you could have needed that thing all the way in the back, that it stresses you out to get there. And ain't the what if supposed to actually service you so that you're not stressed out because you have that thing that's supposed to relieve the need?
Right. Right.
Because you already have it? I'm just saying. And here's the thing. I live this every day. I am not trying to preach at anybody or hurt anybody's toes or feelings, because guess what? I live this every single day, and it is something I even battle with on a regular, and I'm going through my stuff, and I'm trying to hold myself accountable because I want to be able to live in a space where it, you know, I said this a couple months ago, and I'll say it again. I had an epiphany about the fact that if a hospital can be a place to heal, if a library is a place to learn, if certain places are able to have certain purpose, I want my home to hold a certain purpose, not just as a place to sleep and to be when I have nowhere else to be. I want it to be a place of relaxation. I want it to be a place of growth. I want it to be
Calm.
a place of no stress.
Yeah.
I want the fact that people were to come to my place, they are going to be at peace as well.
Yeah.
And I can't provide something like that when everywhere that they look is chaos.
Yeah.
It requires self-discipline.
Yeah.
And self-accountability. And it's a lot of work. And no one's perfect at it. Nobody's perfect at it. Even if people have a clean house, does not mean that there's not another part of their life that they still struggle with. Everyone has their Achilles heel, and we will live through it, and we will live to tell the tale, because it just is what we do. We are human. But
let us know if you are one of these people who, like us, has a lot of things, and that they need to maybe spring clean and get rid of too.
the reality is that most people who are creative get excited by the ideas that come to them, and normally it harvests a lot of loose end stuff that we realize we have to come to terms with. Are these ideas going to be something we actually do, or are they just something that that are actually inhibiting us from having our creative spirit actually be able to flourish and have fun?
I have a picture from a magazine that we went to Barnes & Noble yesterday, and I took a picture of a quote, and it says, "To invent, you need a good imagination and a pile of junk." Thomas Edison. So I took a picture of that because it was just like, isn't that what, that is so true, that you need all that stuff to do the crafts that you're doing. You just have to have room to do it, or to put it.
And if there's too much, then it becomes work to have fun.
Yeah.
And a lot of times hobbies are meant to be something that explore creativity and a creative spirit. And if that is stunted by stress, then you've kind of missed the point. So there's a balance, but there's nothing wrong with knowing how to create something out of nothing.
Yeah.
Just gotta know what that nothing is that you're willing to live with.
Right.
Because that nothing can be a lot of something and a short bout of somewhere that you really want to be. So, going through all the stuff that I have been, found a craft that I did way long ago. This was when I was, oh goodness, I'm thinking 10?
Didn't you make that for your doll?
No.
No?
When, I think it was when Angie had Jayla.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember how old I was.
When Heather had Jayla.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, a cousin of ours, quite a while ago, had a baby. She's now a teenager and is in high school and going to proms and stuff. So it's been a while ago. It's almost
Probably 16 years.
Yeah, it was a while ago. And it was one of my first wearables. I had used my baby doll as, as a reference to the size that I would need to be able to make this wearable, because I was thinking I need to make her something. And I made this little jacket. And as you can see, I even was like, oh, the angle of the shoulders is not right with just going straight out. So I even made these triangle shoulder panels. I did everything from scratch. I did everything from my head. I was really just trying.
She even made a little
pocket. I tried to design a little flower. This is really...
And there's ruffles at the bottom.
Yep, I really went all out with this design. And I was like, okay, I finished it. I'm going to give this and I was so proud of this. And then my parents were like, sweetheart, keep it. And I was like, but I made it for her. And and they meant this not out of anything against my cousin or anything. It was just a matter of, babies go through clothes so fast.
They do.
And by the time she gets it, she might not be able to appreciate it long enough. And your baby doll can.
Yeah.
Make something else that's a little bit easier, like a blanket or something, to be able to have her appreciate it longer. I don't want you to get your feelings hurt if my cousin Heather did not have her in it for so long, because for whatever reason. And I was like, oh, okay. And I don't remember what I made after that, but I was so proud of this and I was determined, and I did everything from my head. I remember having to stop and having to find a way of being able to create these increases and figure out how to stop and kind of do this and continue on.
Because we didn't read patterns back then.
And here's the thing, you would think, how did I do that? Well, and here's another throwback, because I've been doing my gardening, planting like tomatoes and strawberries and squash and berry bushes and potatoes and onions and peppers and da-da-da-da-da-da and herbs. You know how I know any of the planting stuff? You could say, oh, well, your parents planted and all this stuff. No, you want to know how I remember how to do any of this? And this? The Create channel. Do you remember the Create channel?
Yes.
Me and my mom
used to get so excited.
Oh my God, I don't even know how we had it. If it was a PBS thing.
Yeah, it was a PBS channel.
Okay. It's called Create. It was
God.
It's so old. But they had antique people. They had glass, like stained glass people. They had crocheting and knitting people. They had gardening and landscaping people. They had cooking people. They had, if you could think it, they have people on this channel that could do it and showed you how to do it.
And this was before YouTube was really a big, like it is now. This was the YouTube of back then.
And you had to know when things were on, and you had, because you couldn't stop the TV. You had to really be there
and watch it through.
And me and my mom, that's how I learned all my stitches, because I saw people doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I had an easier time learning when I saw someone do it than reading and consuming the knowledge.
Yeah.
And so pattern books at the time were not the way that I was learning. And so that show, every single time the new stitch would come on for the part of their channel, I was so excited and I would try it out every single time. Yeah. And I was always so proud, and I would always try to make something with it. But like I said, that's how I learned all this, was they showed different ways of, find something to reference for clothing, especially if you're making something for a loved one. Maybe see if they have a sweater or something I don't know, like a mannequin or something that you can make, or just reference some old piece of clothing or something like that. Maybe, I don't remember, but I know that with the mannequin, they had named their mannequin, and it was such a funny part of the show, but I had a doll, so I was like, okay, well, the doll can be my mannequin, and that worked for a baby, and I thought that made sense. But with the planting, I keep thinking of all the things that dude that did the landscaping and the planting used to teach us.
Yeah.
Watching that show. And I remember his accent. I think he was Southern. And how he would explain certain things that would go together. And he was just like, be careful putting certain plants together. You really want to know that they work together. But he taught you how to plant, like how to take it from a pot, dig up the dirt, know how far you go down, how to ruffle the roots up to get them activated, and then plant it, and make sure that once you pack it in deep enough, you make sure it's good. You want to be able to get it watered so that it solidifies into that soil right away, and all the different things that he taught. My plants are alive because of a memory from 20 years ago, okay? Like, from a random person, I don't even remember their name from.
I can see his face. P something.
And here's the thing. All these people on the show, I'm talking the stained glass stuff, I'm talking even, it was like, one of them was an antique person that knew how to read antiques and know things. His show was called Luxury of something.
Yeah.
And he sometimes is stuff that I remember him being like, you wanted to feel it. You can feel when it's real leather to not real leather, this to that. Like, he could explain with his words, even though you weren't feeling what he could feel, he was able to be like, this isn't going to last that long.
Right.
Even if it's not real, you want something that will actually still stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Even if you can't afford the real thing, this is how you get a good fake something compared to just a really cheap something. And so he was explaining all that stuff and how to make sure that they look right, because he was always talking about texture palettes and how to and
color palettes.
Yeah, and those random things, guys. I don't know. I'm sorry if I just went.
And then there was the travel guide too. He went all over the place.
Oh yeah.
And showed us where he was and where he stayed, and this is where you get the best deals, and
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And there was the quilting lady that used to throw the stuff behind her.
Yeah. Eleanor Burns.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was so much fun. Anyway, I miss stuff like that. But I think back to how that influenced me. That's what I had. That random channel for a half hour allowed me as a little kid to be able to make one of my first wearables. And I still have it because it's still not that bad. I can't, it's insane to think that I made this. No pattern, not knowing what I was doing.
When you were a kid.
Now I'm a grown adult, and this is an unfinished project I found. Excuse me. And this is when my kids were probably in 3T, 2T clothes. So a couple years ago. Maybe 2021. Yeah, probably 4 years ago.
Since we've had the channel.
Yeah, roughly. And I was making a wearable for them then, which was a little, a high-collared, nice, warm, sweater that I was trying to make them. It was very, the knit is well done. It had a nice border. I just hadn't gotten to the sleeves yet. That's all I had to do to finish this thing. And I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to finish it. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I in my crafting stuff, like I said, going through stuff, I found this random thing I made so many years ago, almost 2 decades ago. Just something I made within the last 5 years, and you can see just how much improvement I have made in my craft.
And it's so good.
And it's just one of those small things.
Well,
of
actually,
like,
one is crochet and one is knit.
Yes.
So that's the difference, too. You learn both.
but you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, like, it's such an interesting blast from the past history thing of when you're going through stuff and you're trying to figure out what you want, what you're going to keep, what you're not going to keep, and then you find something that historical to your life and your crafting and your hobby. And I thought I'd share it.
Yeah.
I thought I'd share it because those are things I'm not going to get rid of.
Right. No. To that end, we do have a quote from Luci Swindoll. Now, I when I was going through my book, this quote stopped me. And then I had to look up and see if she was still alive because she was such a hoot. That was another one from the blast from the past. But sadly, she has passed. She died in 2020 with the coronavirus. But her quote is simple: take time to live. I just thought that was perfect. Take time to live. Do what you love doing, whether it's your crafts, whether it's traveling, whether it's, living in the lap of luxury, whatever, like our TV shows we used to watch.
The Create channel.
Find the colors that inspire you. Find the pattern that inspires you.
Oh my gosh, Mom, you know how you eat very vegan?
Yeah.
The Create lady, the one that was vegan.
Yeah.
Do you remember her?
Mm-hmm.
She had cancer and she.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And
yes.
she.
I have her
cookbook.
Cookbook.
Yeah, you got it from there. But
Yeah.
I remember that was one of your first times even being introduced to that lifestyle of learning how to eat more whole food, plant based.
Yeah.
Was her.
Yeah.
Gosh,
But yes, we encourage you to find those things that make you passionate about it, and to take time to live and to do those things that you love to do.
Mm-hmm. I think that's just, talking about spring cleaning, talking about all this stuff, all these what ifs. Here's the thing. I'm not telling you to get rid of anything if you actually think you're going to need it.
Yes.
I'm not telling you that if it doesn't bring you joy, obviously keep it. I'm not telling you you're not allowed to overconsume if it brings you a lot of joy. What I'm trying to say is make sure it doesn't take away from you. The point is not I'm doing this because I'm drowning in anxiety to make a decision. It's I want it to spark joy. I want it to spark creativity. I want that when you see it, it puts a smile on your face. And things in your life that you put in your home, in your office, in your car, in your space should reflect things that make you happy.
Yeah.
And speak of you and for you and through you. And if what it is that gives you joy is some random bits of things, I'm not telling you that you have to get rid of them. What I'm saying is don't let so many things crowd the shelf when those are the things you want to be able to see.
Yeah.
If those things are so over consumed with other things, then how are you able to enjoy them? Find ways to enjoy what is yours.
Exactly.
And that is...
Clearing out the clutter will make you appreciate what you do have.
Take time to live. You only get one time.
Yeah.
Recently, I've told the kids that they only have one body. Don't break it. And that was such a weird thing to them. They were like, what are you talking about? I said, because they had done something really dangerous. And I had to explain to them. I was like, you only get one chance with your body. If you mess up, you could lose things off of it. And yeah, they're making advances in medicine and stuff that you can possibly add to it. But it's never going to be the same as having what you had before.
Yeah.
Don't be silly. Don't do that. And it was one of those things where it's like, when you only have one time to enjoy life, don't waste it being stressed out.
Yeah.
If it is something that does not need to be in your life, and it's not a responsibility, it's just something that is just there making space that you could make much more happy,
Yeah.
then take time to live, like Luci Swindoll said, and make the choice to choose you and love yourself enough to make the right choices so that you can enjoy your life, enjoy your hobbies, enjoy what sparks joy, enjoy what sparks love and hope and happiness and creativity.
Yeah. Yes.
We're supposed to have fun. That's what I've been told. You know, as always, we hope that to anyone who's made it to the end of the video, thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate all of you. We appreciate anybody who enjoys our rambling. We really appreciate you guys. We just recently made to 100 subscribers.
Yes, I
and
was
we
just
are
gonna say that.
so
Grateful.
It is truly an honor to even be amongst so many awesome people that even just want to get to hear what we have to say.
Yeah.
But,
You're our people.
you're our people. So like, subscribe, share. We just like to fellowship with y'all.
And comment.
So until next time, we hope that you get everything that you're hoping to get done this week and that you stitch your way
To mental health.